Hello viewers, welcome back to another important concept in management, that is evolution of management thoughts. In the previous episode we discussed about the overview of management. In this episode we will be discussing on history and evolution of management thoughts. This episode is divided into main 5 models. They are evolution of management thoughts, early management approaches, administrative management, human relations approach, modern management approaches. Evolution of management thoughts. The process of evolution of management thought can be traced with one of the earliest civilization known is that of Sumerians. From 3000 year BC onward, priests in the Sumerian city of Ur, the site is in Iraq now, kept business, legal and historical records on clay tablets, and Sumerians developed written language in response to their need for a managerial control process. Kautilya's Arthashastra and Saint Thiruvalluvar's Thirukkural state the principles and concepts of management. Especially after World War II, the literature on management has grown at an unprecedented rate. These principles and concepts may be applied in our modern world and maybe in the future also. The evolution of management thought during this period can be studied in 2 parts, which are as under: early management approaches or classical management thoughts, modern management approaches. Early management approaches. The early management approaches are represented by scientific management. Frederick Winslow Taylor is the father of scientific management. Taylor's ideas on scientific management took a tangible shape through the publication of his famous work, The Principles of Scientific Management, in 1911. His experiences as an apprentice, a common laborer, a foreman, a master mechanic, and then a chief engineer of a steel company gave him opportunity to know the problems and attitudes of workers and the ways to improve the quality of the management. He conducted a series of experiments in 3 companies: Midwell Steel Company, Siemens Rolling Machine Company and Bethlehem Steel Company, and propounded scientific approach to management, which is as follows. The first one is the time and motion study. Since Taylor himself had been a mechanist, he knew how piecework laborers used to produce only 1/3 of the required level because they feared their employers would cut their piece rate as soon as there was a rise in production, and no one knew how much to work. So, he started time and motion study, under which he studied about the time needed for a job. Then he found out the best time needed for the job. This replaced the rule of thumb with science. The second one is the differential payment. Taylor introduced a new payment plan in which he linked incentives with production. Under this plan, lower piece rates are paid if a worker produced the standard output and higher piece rates if he produced above the standard output. The third one is the drastic reorganization of supervision. In those days, workers used to plan for their work and foremen simply told workers what jobs to perform. Taylor suggested that the entire work has to be planned by the foreman and not by the workers. The workers should work according to the plan of the foreman. Scientific recruitment and training. Taylor emphasized the need for scientific selection and development of workers. The management should hire the right person for the job and give necessary training to bring out his or her best. Friendly cooperation between the management and worker. Taylor suggested that the management and the laborer had a common interest in increasing productivity. However, this theory has been criticized on the grounds that no man is entirely an economic man, which means a man's behavior is not always influenced by his financial needs. He has other needs such as social, security and ego. The time and motion study is not entirely scientific because no 2 time studies done by the 2 separate individuals has the same outcome as of the Taylors. Working for maximum output for more incentives may lead to exhaustion among the workers. Administrative management. Henry Fayol is often described as the father of administrative management theory. He focused on the administrative level of organizations. His publication, General and Industrial Management, printed in the French in 1916, brought into light his valuation contribution to the field of management. Fayol believed that all activities of business concerns could be divided into 6 groups, namely technical, commercial, financial, accounting, security and administrative or managerial. He also defined management in terms of 5 functions: planning, organizing, commanding, coordinating and controlling, which were found very useful by many management theorists and practitioners. Fayol was the first person to offer a list of principles of management which in his opinion are applicable in all organizations. The 14 principles are as under: division of work. Each person shall be assigned a particular task for which he specializes, and this will tend to maximize the efficiency. This process produces more and better work with the same effort. Authority and responsibility. Authority is the right to give orders and the power to expect obedience. As management consists of getting the work done through others, it implies that the manager should have the right to give orders and powers to expect obedience. Wherever this is exercised, responsibility arises. Wherever an individual exercises authority, he/she must also be prepared to bear responsibility. Authority without responsibility means chaos. Discipline. There should be order and discipline at work. That implies a goal of self-discipline. Observance of the rules and norms of an organization depend basically on the good relation between the superiors and subordinates. Unity of command. For any action whatsoever, an employee should receive orders from one superior only. If an employee has to report to more than one superior, he would be confused by the dissimilar instructions. This principle, according to Fayol, is of cardinal importance. Unity of direction. For any group of activities, there should be one head and one plan. Every action must be directed by a single authority according to one plan towards a common objective. Remuneration of personnel. Remuneration of personnel should be fair, should be based on general business conditions, cost of living, productivity of the concerned employees and the capacity of the firm to pay. Remuneration should encourage keenness and must be satisfactory to both employees and employer. Otherwise, the organization will suffer from employee dissatisfaction. General interest. Individual or group interests should be subordinated to the general interest of the organization as a whole. Adequate centralization. Referring to the importance of subordinates' role and stressing that a certain extent of centralization automatically exists and the optimum degree must be found for the particular organization. Scalar chain. The scalar chain refers to the hierarchy of authority from the highest executive to the lowest one for the purpose of communication. It states superior subordinate relationship and the authority of superiors in relation to subordinate at various levels. Order. Management should obtain orderliness in work through suitable organization of men and materials. If everything and every person are at the right place, the organization can function efficiently. Equity. Fair treatment should be given to all the members of the organization. Equity results from a combination of kindness and justice. Employees expect management to be equally just to everybody. The managers must be free from prejudices, personal likes and dislikes. Stability of tenure of personnel. In order to motivate workers to do more and better work, it is necessary to assure them the security of job by management. The employees must feel the job satisfaction and security of the job by the management. Initiative. Thinking out a plan and ensuring its success is one of the keen satisfactions for an intelligent man to experience. Hence, everybody should be given some freedom of work so as to create his initiative. Esprit de corps. As unity is strength, spirit de corps must be fostered. Since everybody is to be directed towards the attainment of the general interest of the organization, the management has to develop within the employees a team spirit. Human relations approach. Professor George Elton Mayo and his team undertook the famous experiments at the Hawthorne plant of the Western Electric Company between 1927 and 1932. The company was having 29,000 workers. Mayo and his team conducted a series of experiments, namely Illumination experiment, relay assembly room, mass interview program, bank wiring observation, and investigated informal groupings, informal relations, patterns of communication, pattern of internal relationship, etc. Let us examine these experiments and their results. The first one is the elimination experiment. This experiment took place at the first phase of the study. Mayo and his team wanted to know whether elimination affects the productivity. They set up two groups in different buildings, namely control group and test group. The members of the control groups are asked to work in constant level of elimination, and rapid changes in the elimination were made on the test group. The results after the experiments were compared, and it was found that elimination affected the production only to a marginal. The second experiment was the relay assembly test room. This was the second phase, and in this phase a more broadened approach to study were observed rather than only elimination. Mayo and his team considered other factors such as working hours, rest pauses, lunch time, and physical conditions. A group of 6 women workers were selected for the experiment. During the experiment, a more informal environment was created and they were provided with extended rest hours, varied working conditions, etc. After a few days, it was observed that the production of the group had no relation with working conditions. It went on increasing and stabilized at a high level even when all the improvements were taken away. Then the researchers concluded that the women workers felt that their participation in the experiment gained them a feeling of importance, tension free, and social relations can lead to better production. The third experiment was the interviewing program. This is the third phase in which the researchers conducted an interview for 20,000 workers. At the beginning, direct questions were asked relating to the type of supervision, working conditions, living conditions, and so on. Later, topics were changed and indirect questions were asked relating to the workers' favorite topics related to their work environment. This study showed that the social relations inside the organization had unmistakable influence on the workers' behaviors and attitudes. The fourth experiment was the bank wiring observation room. This phase involved 14 men making terminal banks of telephone wiring assemblies to determine the effect of informal group norms and formal economic incentives on productivity. It was observed that the group of men formed own production norms which were much lower than those set by the management, and they restricted to their own production norms. This artificial norm saved them from possible cut in their piece rates and protected the weaker and slower workers. The study also revealed that the members of the group formed informal ranking within themselves, and there was an informal leader too. After the above series of experiments, the following outcomes of the experiments were observed. The organization in general is a social system composed of numerous interacting parts. The social environment of the job affects the workers. Informal organization also exists within the framework of formal organization. Workers act as a group at a workplace rather than as individuals. There is an emergence of informal leadership against the formal leadership, and informal leader sets and enforces group norms. Money is not the only motivator. There are other factors like social, psychological and behavior which also acts as motivators. Contribution of Peter F. Drucker. The concept of management and its objectives were introduced by Peter F. Drucker. According to him, management is not an exact science or profession. He criticized scientific management and human relations approach. His contributions, however, relates greatly to today's scenario. He emphasized on the following factors. Nature of management. The basic objectives of management are innovation. The term innovation includes development of new ideas and combination of old ideas with new ideas. Functions of management. Management is the starting point of any institution. Management does not have any functions of its own. The existence of functions of the management is concurrent with the existence of functions of manager. The manager has to determine the objectives and activities and is concerned with direction and controlling of activities. Organization structure. An effective organization structure has three basic characteristics. The structure is framed in such a way it enables smooth performance, containing possible minimum number of managerial levels, providing a chance to test the ability of young people who are accepting responsibility. Federalism. It means centralized control in a decentralized structure. It is similar to Indian Constitution. Central government has more powers when compared to the state governments. According to Drucker, top management has more power than various departments, but the decisions regarding the departments have to be taken by both of them. Departments are allowed to take decisions within the limits set up by the top management. Management by objectives. Drucker introduced the management by objectives in 1954. The various components of management by objectives are method of planning, setting standards, performance appraisal, motivation. Management by objectives gives importance to self-control rather than the control made by others. So, it is necessary to change the organization itself. Organizational changes. Drucker visualized rapid changes in the society due to rapid technological developments. Besides, he realized the impact of such changes on human life. So, he stressed that human beings should develop an attitude to face the changes and consider them indispensable for making the society better. This is done by developing dynamic organizations. Dynamic organizations are developed only by observing the rapid changes. Modern management approaches. Management has gained more and more importance, and several theories have emerged in recent years which stress more on the behavior of managers and organizations. These theories are called modern management approaches. Some important approaches are modern management science or quantitative approach. Modern management science gained momentum during the World War II when UK and USA were desperately trying to seek solutions to a number of new complex problems in warfare. In later years, people made use of these techniques in solving business problems. This approach focuses on the development of mathematical models. A mathematical model is a simplified representation of a system, process or relationship. For example, some banks use mathematical models to figure how many tellers need to be on duty at each location at various times throughout the day. This approach is widely used in planning and controlling activities. The second one is the decision science. In 1950s, the contributions of economists, mathematicians and statisticians led to the development of another school of management thought, which is known as decision science school. It is concerned with rational decision making by way of defining the problem, developing alternatives, evaluating such alternatives, and choosing the best possible solution thereof. According to this school, as decision making is the sole way in which managers can discharge their responsibility of managing, decision making should be taken as the central focus of the management study. Various mathematical models and analysis like linear programming, critical path scheduling, inventory models, information models, simulation, etc. have been developed for the quantitative measurement of the decision results with the help of computers. Important contributors to this field include Herbert A. Simon, Kenneth Boulding, etc. Operations management. Operations management is somewhat less mathematical and statistically sophisticated than management science and can be applied more directly to managerial situations. Operations management techniques are generally concerned with helping the organization to produce its products or services more efficiently and can be applied to a wide range of problems. Systems approach. An organization is also a system composed of 4 independent parts, namely task, structure, people, and technology. The central to the system approach is synergy, which means the system is a set of interdependent parts which together form a unitary whole that performs some function. Organizations to be successful must concentrate on the success of the whole than that of the individual departments or units. Contingency approach. According to this approach, management principles and concepts have no general and universal application under all conditions. There is no best way of doing things under all conditions. This approach suggests that the task of managers is to identify which technique in a situation best contribute to the attainment of goals. Contingency views are applicable in designing the organizational structure, deciding on the degree of decentralization, establishing communication and control systems, in resolving conflicts and managing change. Total Quality Management Approach, popularly known as TQM approach. TQM is the latest mantra of management. According to TQM, the organization must be customer focused. Everyone in the organization must understand that without the customer, there would be no purpose to their work. There is therefore a need to focus on the requirements and expectations of the both internal and external customers. TQM in its essence implies total commitment to quality. Every step in the organization's process is subjected to intense and regular scrutiny for the ways to improve the quality. It is a formal program which involves direct participation by all employees. As we learned that management is not a new concept, it has been evolved since centuries, and as a proof it can be traced back to 3000 years. Management's principles and concepts may be found in Kautilya's Arthashastra and Saint Thiruvalluvar's Thirukkural. Especially after World War II, the literature on management has grown at an unprecedented rate. The evolution of management thought during this period can be studied in 2 parts: early management approaches or classical management thoughts, modern management approaches. Thank you.